Most of the difficult questions we think about feel disconnected from each other. We've grown comfortable expecting and even holding entirely different explanations for things, with examples like consciousness, time, gravity, particles, or dark matter. My starting point is, what if that separation is the mistake? This video isn't going to solve any of those problems, and this is not a theory of everything. It's not a replacement for existing physics. It's a sense of direction. It's a way of looking at these problems that treats them structurally related to each other without just like metaphorically relating them to each other or like finding a slogan that sounds nice. We usually ask questions like, what is consciousness made of? What particle explains dark matter? What force causes gravity? Why does time flow? These are reasonable questions, but they all assume the same thing, that we're missing ingredients. The model I'm proposing is like a step before that, where instead of asking what things are made of, we're instead going to ask, what must be true for a configuration of reality to be self-consistent at all? Reality in my model is treated like a collection of objects. It's more like a system that has to satisfy global constraints. The core idea that I have here is that reality is a globally constrained relational structure. What we observe, like matter, forces, time, even conscious experiences, are local outcomes of how these constraints resolve. It adds no substances or ontologies. It just changes how we organize what we already know to be there. In this model, some things don't build gradually. They appear the moment conditions are met, like how a chord exists the second you play each of the necessary notes. Symmetry appears the moment that's satisfied. A phase transition happens when a threshold is crossed, not halfway there. Some features of reality work this same way. Time's global structure may be required to reach a configuration, but not to create the quality of that configuration, whatever the resolution is. This model is not saying consciousness creates the universe. It's not saying that the universe is made of mind. It's not saying that physics reduces to philosophy or that math replaces reality. If any part of this model relies on special observers or mystic causation or unfalsifiable principles, then I would consider it to be wrong. With that in mind, here is a brief way on how the model touches each of the different domains without too much detail. For consciousness, conscious experience is treated as the immediate outcome of a system closing a self-referential constraint loop. It's not something that slowly accumulates once the loop is closed. For time, time is understood as the process of constraint resolution. It is not a container that events happen inside. Gravity is reinterpreted as a static global constraint on motion rather than a force propagating locally. Dark matter and dark energy appear as global consistency effects on local dynamics, not necessarily as missing particles. They are consequences of unresolved or distributed constraints. And then meaning and information in my model arise when relational structures stabilize, not when symbols are interpreted by an external observer. Each of those is going to get its own video. The videos are planned, but this is not that video. The main point of this video is to just get the core of the idea across. And so I would say that the strength of this approach isn't that it answers everything, it's that it restricts what kind of answers are coherent. A good model doesn't just explain the things that it explains, it also tells you what explanations won't work. If this model is correct, it should reduce multiple hard problems into the question, what constraints are operating and how are they being resolved? That also means that this model could fail. If global constraints never matter, it fails. If qualitative states never abruptly appear, it fails. If the structure breaks when applied across domains, logically, it fails. That is what the next video is planned on. The next video is planned on focusing on how the model could be wrong or undermining the model in any ways that we can come at it from to demonstrate that it's falsifiable. This is not a finished theory. It's a structure I want to have tested in public. The goal is not to offer certainty, it's to explore coherence. Let's see if we can find a structure behind what it takes for an explanation to make sense.